What do you get when you mix exquisite engineering with a VFR 1200 and some West Country cider? The Ariel Ace R.
Look at the size of that bore. You can literally fit my fist in it. I'm fisting it. Look, I'm fisting it. Don't know what to do, ride it or molest it. Let's try riding it. Keys down here. Oh! I mean, there is nothing quite like getting over a bout of food poisoning than jumping on an Ariel Ace R. It's mad. It's solved me. It's cured me. I feel fine again. It's not just a wonderful piece of engineering. It's also a miracle worker. It's like Teresa. What's her name? Mother Teresa, not Theresa May. Yeah, Mother Teresa. It's a Mother Teresa of motorcycling. Just much fitter. I mean, you're riding along like 40 miles an hour, 3,000 RPM. It all sounds quite civil. It all sounds rather, you can tell there's a bit of naughtiness in there somewhere. But it's not until you do. Oh, just listen to it, and trust me, it goes as well as it sounds. It's a mixture of that sound and the mid-range. It's highly addictive. Don't do it, kids, don't do it. Get this, Ariel claim 203 horsepower. I mean, I think that's at the crank, obviously, but from a VFR 1200, the VFR, this is what you should be building, Honda, and it fills every GG of 203. But it's all about that mid-range. So what is the Ariel Ace R? Well, kids, this is a culmination of years and years of engineering genius from the boys in Crewkern, and it's basically a very bespoke chassis housing a VFR 1200 engine. The culmination is a very, very, very special motorcycle. It should be. It costs 60 grand. £60,000. £60,000, and they're all sold out anyway, so you can't buy one. So we're very fortunate enough to be one of, I think, only 3 publications worldwide. I won't give you too many clues who the other one is, to be able to ride it. So Tom, how do you go about designing and building a bike from scratch? I mean, have you got a Stig? Have you got a super amazing test rider? How does it work?
Yeah, we've got several people we use for that. I mean, the bike, where do you start? Starts obviously with an idea. A lot of the time it started with an engine for us, obviously the VFR 1200, the Honda engine. Yep. We wanted something that was not a V-twin or an inline 4, so it was a pretty obvious sort of one for us. Yeah, I mean, we obviously started then with the frame. We knew we wanted to make the machine down aluminium frame right from the word go, so it's a big centerpiece, but also with a bit of a styling nod to our other
definitely mirrors the cars.
Yeah. That's right, yeah. So that was a big thing. But yeah, no, we do a bit of the test riding ourselves if it's more road stuff, but obviously we're not really, we're nothing special on the riding, so we do need to employ someone who knows what they're doing when it gets to that point.
So you have got a Stig somewhere?
Yeah. We've got Stigs for bikes, cars, rally stuff. They're all good at their different area, basically.
Okay. And so onto this engine then, I mean, you claim 200 horsepower and it feels every single piece 200 horsepower.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the noise certainly makes, sort of accentuates it a bit, but it feels every single bit of the 200 horsepower. So what exactly has been done to that engine? Because I'm thinking, off the top of my head, I can't think of many other tuned VFR 1200 engines.
No.
So how would you go about making that sort of power?
No, it's quite a big project, really. I mean, one of the main things is that the VFR is quite conservatively tuned because it's designed to run in all parts of the world, in all weathers, on any old petrol that you can find at any garage. So it's low compression, but with it being a V4, it is quite difficult, and especially with the Unicam system that they run, it's quite different. It's not conventional as such.
Okay.
So one of the main things is the combustion area. So you're obviously changing pistons, modifying the cylinder head, modifying the valves, that sort of stuff. Cams is a big thing, again with the Unicam, so the cams has changed. But also we run a big bore. So
right.
Yeah, so it's...
Was it 1600 or something?
No, it's not that big. It's only 1 mil oversized.
Right, okay. Right.
So it's fairly small, conservative to keep it reliable. But those things, it's got different crank, different pistons, different rods, I say extensive head work, different camshafts, modifications done to the gearbox. So there's a lot of work, and that's why the bike is the expensive it is. That is the engine, basically.
Really?
The engine is a really expensive thing to do.
So, talking of expense, that frame, I mean, anyone who's seen one up close, I mean, the bike's been at the shows, it's been at Goodwood, etc. Anyone who's seen this in the flesh will see, I mean, that's not a 5-minute job, is it?
No.
How long does one of those frames take?
It's about 70 hours of machine time. So it's on the machine a lot, and then obviously it's got to be welded and anodized, so there's a huge amount of work. The frame on the motorcycle is much more expensive than the frame on one of our cars, for example. Yeah, there's that much work in it. It's a huge undertaking, and obviously you have to be so careful with it for everything to be perfect, otherwise it just looks scruffy. So it's a really, really difficult job to get it just as good as it can be.
This makes a Panigale look like a Tonka toy. I mean, the attention you get off it, I mean, of course it's noisy, and it's almost obnoxiously noisy when you ride through towns and villages, but who cares? It sounds this good. And you can tell it's got the naughty cams in. It sort of hunts and makes these noises at the bottom end. It doesn't want to idle particularly well. Who cares? Oh, that overrun as well. Angry. It's so angry. There's noises and sounds and coming out of every orifice of this thing. It feels sharp, agile. It's basically an über-naked with a VFR 1200 engine in. It's not the lightest, but it does hustle. The problem is now, you ride something like this and everything else just seems too everyday, too little. This looks special, and it is special, and it makes you feel special. That throttle's just saying, twist me, baby, go on. You know, I know that Ariel is a manufacturer, and you know, this is nothing like the sort of shed builds and garage lash-ups you get. This is yes, it's almost bespoke. Hello, my baby. But so often with these sort of custom things, they feel disjointed and far from fluid. It just feels like the complete bike. Of course, yes, you know, the Honda have done a lot of work that they give. The motor is its heart, and the swing arm is the Honda, and there's obviously the switch gear and everything else, but you know, the rest of it is all Ariel's doing, and it must have taken ages, years to develop this sort of thing and get it right. And it doesn't feel, like I said, it doesn't feel like a garage lash out, it feels like a complete bike, but then it should do for 60 grand. Now this isn't a bike for touring, I'll tell you that now. It's a very, very stiff seat. It's got a lovely posture. The balance is almost 50-50 front and rear, it feels like. There's enough weight on the front end. It's like a supernatural fulcrum of balance. It's very sexy. On that tractor. Obviously being Honda powered, you get the Honda electronics with it, which is no bad thing really, especially when you can turn it all off. There's a little button down here which I'll show you in a minute. There's a little button down here for when life's getting you down. Just hold that down. There we go. By the way, those are dash buttons and trip things, and they basically operate the dash. So yeah, hold the rem button down, little red light comes on. You can be very naughty indeed now if you want. I mean, it's a standard Honda ECU, but it's been tweaked. You know, it's obviously been mapped. There is a power commander as well, but the ECU has been mapped or remapped. And there's a limiter, Honda limiter in the first two gears, which they've taken off. But it does this! I mean, basically, it's a very naughty little sausage.
So obviously you're a tiny factory, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, people see all the atoms about and think you must be in some massive factory, but I think you've got 30 staff, is that right?
30 staff, yeah.
And how many people on bikes?
There are 1, 2, 3 lads working on bikes full-time assembly. So we make about 25 bikes a year, so it's very low numbers. That's how we like it really. We're good at making low volume stuff. You know, we've got no desire to be a volume manufacturer. It means that we can do things in a different way really, and pay much more attention to detail. So I think we could probably realistically make a few more than that if we needed to, but 25 seems to be about the right. 25 years seems to be about the right sort of number really.
And are we going to see any other bikes coming in the future?
We'd love to. It's the beauty of being a small family-owned company is really we can do what we want. We've not got a load of shareholders or people that we've got to bow down to or take their stupid ideas on board. So we just do stuff with all our products. We do things that we like, and then hopefully other people like it. You know, that's the way it goes. So another bike I think definitely would be. I would love to do one. But there's nothing on the drawing board at the moment, but I would love to do one in the future. We'll just have to see how it goes.
And starting from scratch essentially, you've got this frame, you've got this engine, you've got this idea, but how do you go about making sure the geometry is right, it handles right, it's stable enough? How do you start that concept and put it into reality?
Yeah, I mean the bike was a big project. You know, we launched the Ace in 2014. We were working on it from 2009, so it was 5 years we were doing it. You know, we designed it on the computer first, spent a fortune on stress calculations, testing, you know, making sure that the idea was valid. And then actually what we did was we got a Honda VFR 1200 frame and just chopped it about. We chopped we chopped the back end about, we chopped the front end about, we cut the headstock out, welded it back in a different position, and used that to prove our girder basically as well. So we had sort of a modified VFR with our girders, frame all chopped around, and we did a load of development with that bike initially to sort of prove, as you say, prove your handling characteristics and everything. And then when that was done, we made a frame, and then we had to do all the physical testing, so obviously safety case work, and then obviously built it into the prototypes and then gone on from there. And then launch was Goodwood, so July 2014.
Yep. And I know they're not everyone's cup of tea, and they're certainly not mine, but those gold bits, you know, I guess they are there because you listen to customers and you listen to your existing customers and gone, well, they love a bit of gold bling. let's shove it on.
Yeah.
Let's make it a limited edition.
The gold bits, as I say, they're not necessarily to my taste either, but that's what at that end of it, you know, the bike's obviously dripping with carbon fibre. It's quite a few bits, so we thought a bit of a gold bling theme would obviously, you know, appeal, and it seemed to work. Yeah. You know, it's certainly striking, the bike, when you see it. And obviously everything sort of mixes in with the gold and the carbon, and the frame, which is that sort of pearlescent finish which comes alive in the sunlight. Yeah. So, you know, that does all adds up to making the bike look pretty smart, and as you say, it performs as well as it looks.
And if you didn't know, sorry, the R is now fully sold. The 10 units went straight away, didn't they?
Yeah.
Similar with the Ace of Diamonds, the other limited edition run, but of course you can still buy the normal Ace, which certainly isn't normal. I mean, it is exquisite. You really need to get a chance to ride one. Thanks, Tom.
Cheers, Al. Thank you.
Thank you.